In the cold silence of deep space, the alien research ship Veltranak moved like a shadow between stars. Its crew, the Yalari, were old explorers. They had mapped hundreds of systems, studied thousands of species, but today something strange happened. A signal appeared on their scanners. It was weak, old, and full of noise, but it was not natural. It was artificial. One of the officers cleaned the signal. Strange sounds came through the speaker. Music, voices, explosions. Then came a man's voice, speaking in a harsh tone, talking about a world war. It was a human broadcast from Earth, sent out decades ago. The crew was confused and curious. Commander Rethan narrowed his eyes. Primitive. They still use radio signals. The crew laughed. They thought humans would be simple creatures, easy to study. So the commander gave the order. Set course for the source. Let's observe this Earth. Maybe it will give us something to entertain the scholars. They expected a quiet, underdeveloped world. They were wrong. As they moved closer to Earth's solar system, strange things began to appear on their screens. There were signs of many wars, millions of lives lost. Again and again. The Yalari had never seen a species destroy itself so often and still survive. Earth had burned many times, but humans had rebuilt every time. Even after nuclear disasters, world wars, plagues, and more, they rose again. A junior science officer named Silak felt uneasy. "Sir," he said, "their death rate is high, but their population keeps growing. They lose millions in war and still build more cities." The commander didn't reply. He was watching live footage from one of the satellites. A human soldier was running through a battlefield, covered in blood, dragging his injured friend to safety while gunfire screamed around him. Silak whispered, "Why do they do this? Why do they keep fighting?" The ship's AI calculated historical patterns and timelines. It showed data about Earth's history, continuous war, violence, struggle, but also growth, invention, and strange strength. The Yalari saw the inventions of humans, nuclear bombs, chemical weapons, and space rockets. But what scared them more was the reason behind these inventions. Humans made weapons not just to fight others, but sometimes to protect ideas, beliefs, and even strangers. "Sir," another officer said slowly, "they build weapons to destroy planets, but they also send machines to explore stars. They can love and hate at the same time." Commander Rethan didn't like what he was seeing. These creatures were unstable, but also unstoppable. The crew started to feel a strange fear. Humans had only existed for a short time compared to the Yalari, but they had advanced faster than most species. Too fast, too dangerous. The ship moved into Earth's orbit quietly, using cloaking technology. They observed cities full of light, chaos, and movement. One of the science probes scanned a battlefield archive, footage of World War II, then Vietnam, then Iraq, then cyber wars. Violence was everywhere, but so was courage, sacrifice, and unity. Silak showed one last file to the commander. It was a story of a human who jumped on a grenade to save his team. He knew he would die, Silak said, voice shaking. But he did it anyway. The room went silent. That act was not logical, not efficient, not something the Yalari would ever do. But humans did it, again and again. Suddenly, the ship's scanners picked up something unexpected. A human deep space probe had detected a slight energy ripple from the cloaked ship. Earth's defense systems began to shift slightly, as if they had sensed something, even from this far. The commander stared at the readings. "They shouldn't be able to see us. Their technology is too weak." But Earth's systems were reacting. Not fully, not clearly, but there was movement. The humans had noticed something. Commander Rethan finally spoke, his voice low and heavy. "They are not ready for contact. But more importantly, we are not ready for them." The crew, once laughing at humans, now sat in silence, What kind of species keeps fighting, keeps suffering, but keeps moving forward, stronger every time? The ship turned silently in space, pulling away from Earth's orbit. No message was sent, no contact made, only silence. As the stars blurred past the windows of Veltranek, Selak sat alone in his chamber, watching one last image. A human child playing in the rubble of a destroyed city, smiling at the camera. Selak whispered to himself, "What are they?" Far behind them, on a small blue planet, humans continued living, laughing, fighting, building, and surviving. The more the Yellari learned about humans, the more terrified they became. The alien ship Veltranek had left Earth's orbit, but something followed them. Not a ship, not a missile. It was a question, a fear, that stayed inside every crew member's mind. What if the humans were not just survivors, but something more? Something evolving faster than the galaxy could handle. Commander Rethan had ordered silence. No reports were to be sent back to the Yellari High Council. "We need to study them more," he said, quietly, from a distance. But even he felt uneasy. In all their travels, they had never come across a species like this. A few days later, the ship docked at an outpost near the edge of Yellari space. There, the crew began sorting the data they had collected from Earth: videos, documents, DNA samples, energy readings. Scientists, historians, and even more strategists were called to study it. One by one, the experts gave their reports. The historian was the first. He looked shaken. "Their history is written in blood," he said. "They have killed more of their own kind than any other species we've seen. And yet, they grow. They invent. They dream. It makes no sense." Next came the war analyst. He showed maps of Earth's past conflicts. "Humans do not fear death the way we do," he said. "They fight not just to survive, but for honor, freedom, revenge, even for love. Their emotions control their actions, not logic. That makes them unpredictable and dangerous." The DNA expert stepped forward next. She showed a comparison between human genes and other intelligent species. "Their bodies are weak," she explained. "Soft skin, easily broken. But their brains, their minds are built for adaptation. They learn faster under pressure. They change with every generation. Evolution is speeding up for them." The room was silent. One scientist finally asked, "How far could they go in 100 years? 1,000? No one had an answer. That night, Selak couldn't sleep. He kept watching more human footage. He saw videos of people surviving plane crashes, pulling others from burning cars, fighting fires, saving animals. And then he saw something even stranger: humans laughing in hospitals, telling jokes before surgery, dancing in war zones, singing during disasters. It confused him. Why would a creature smile while suffering? He decided to speak to the commander again. "Sir," Selak said quietly, "they are not just survivors. They find meaning in pain. They grow stronger in it." Commander Rethan sighed. "That is why I'm afraid. They do not break like other species. They transform." Suddenly, an alarm rang through the ship. A signal had been detected. A human satellite had sent a new type of transmission into deep space. It was coded, encrypted, but also filled with images. Pictures of Earth, of humans, of peace and war and unity. The message was simple: "We are here." It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a request for help. It was a declaration. Rethan stared at the screen. "They know someone is watching," he said. "They don't know who we are, but they want us to know who they are." Back on the Yellari homeworld, a message was sent to Veltranek. It came from the High Council. They had learned about the human signal and demanded answers. Rethan read the message slowly. Then he made a decision. "We will return to Earth," he said. "Not to contact. Not yet, but to understand more. Because if we wait too long, they may come to us first." And so, The crew began preparing for another journey to the blue planet that had shaken them to the core. They didn't know what they would find next, but one thing was clear. The more they learned about humans, the more they realized fear was no longer enough. Now they had to decide: fight, hide, or understand. The ship Veltranic once again moved through deep space, this time slower, more careful. No one laughed now. The crew that once thought humans were simple now watched every signal from Earth with quiet fear. Commander Rethan had ordered complete silence. No communication, no scanning with strong beams, just watching. They were to observe humans from orbit, without being seen. But something was different this time. As they entered Earth's orbit again, they noticed something strange. A new human space station was being built, faster than before. More satellites, more defense systems, more probes leaving the planet. Humans were clearly reaching for the stars. And quickly. Selak looked at the new data. They've increased their space activity by 35% in just 10 years, he said. That's not normal. That's a race preparing for something. The commander nodded. They are expecting someone, or something. From their hidden position above Earth, the Yllari ship recorded human behavior again. This time, they focused on leaders, scientists, and soldiers. They watched meetings about alien life, discussions about space defense, and public messages filled with warnings about the unknown. The humans were afraid, but not frozen by fear. They were planning, building, preparing. Then came the next surprise. One of Earth's satellites, an old one, almost broken, suddenly turned, just slightly. Its camera lens moved, as if looking directly at the cloaked ship. The crew froze. "Impossible," whispered the pilot. "We're invisible." But the satellite moved again. Then it blinked a coded light signal. Short flashes, long flashes, a pattern. Morse code. Selak read it aloud as it flashed. "We see you. We are not alone." The room went silent. Commander Rethan stared at the screen. "They know we're here, and they're not afraid." Later, Selak reviewed the satellite's origin. It had been launched 20 years ago, damaged in orbit, almost forgotten. But humans had recently reactivated it, using new software. It was now part of a secret Earth network, scanning the skies. "They've created a warning system," Selak said. "And it's working." At the same time, other news came in. A human science team had discovered strange particles near the moon. Traces of Yllari ship activity from the last visit. The scientists were getting close to the truth. They were smarter than before. Curious. Focused. And something else was happening on Earth. In hidden labs, scientists were developing new materials, new energy systems, some based on theories that matched old Yllari tech. Somehow, the humans were figuring things out on their own. The commander held a secret meeting with his officers. "We can't keep watching from a distance forever," he said. "They're moving too fast. If we stay silent, they might see it as fear or weakness." One officer asked, "Then what do we do?" "We learn more," the commander said. "Not just about their weapons, about their minds, their beliefs, what drives them." So the crew released tiny scout drones into Earth's atmosphere, silent, invisible, watching from above. These drones recorded human behavior from all over the world. Cities, battlefields, temples, schools, homes. And what they found was strange. In one place, a man gave away all his food to feed others. In another, a woman risked her life to save a stranger in a burning house. In war zones, soldiers refused to fight children. In disaster areas, humans shared shelter with animals. These were not logical actions, not something the Yllari could understand easily. Why help others when it brings pain? Why sacrifice for people you don't know? Selak watched a video of a human doctor holding a dying child's hand, whispering soft words to comfort him. No one else was there. No one watching. Just kindness in the face of death. "They are dangerous," Selak said softly. "But they are also something else, something powerful in a different way. Back on the ship, the data kept coming in. Every new fact made the fear stronger, but also something else. A question. Were humans becoming something more? Commander Rethan stood in front of the main screen, watching Earth spin slowly below. "They are not ready for us," he said. "But maybe we are not ready for them." And somewhere deep on Earth, in a lab hidden under mountains, a human scientist looked up at the stars and smiled. "They're watching," she said to her assistant. "And we're watching back." Earth slowly turned below the alien ship, Veltranek, glowing with life, chaos, and energy. From orbit, the Yalari crew had watched the humans grow stronger, smarter, and more alert. Their weapons were still primitive by galactic standards, but their minds were racing ahead. It was no longer just about curiosity. It was about readiness. Commander Rethan sat in silence, reading the latest drone reports. Human technology was advancing fast, especially in communication, defense, and space travel. But what shocked him most were the small things. A child in a war zone using scrap metal to build a working radio. A teenager in a poor village coding advanced programs on an old computer. A wounded soldier inventing a new medical tool while recovering in a hospital bed. "They turn suffering into invention," he said. "They use pain as fuel." Silak, standing beside him, nodded. "And they teach each other faster than any species we've seen. Their knowledge spreads like fire." But now, something new had appeared. One of the drones had spotted a hidden human base in Antarctica. From above, it looked like a research center, but strange energy signals were coming from deep underground. The Yalari couldn't ignore it. Commander Rethan sent 2 silent probes to scan the area. What they found changed everything. The humans had discovered fragments of alien metal buried under the ice. Metal from a crashed ship, not of human origin. Silak confirmed it. It's ancient Yalari alloy, from over 300 years ago, one of our lost explorers. Somehow, the humans had found it, hidden it, and were studying it. And worse, they were learning from it. Back on the ship, a long-lost Yalari signal was recovered from the old metal. It was weak but clear. A warning. A message from the missing explorer ship. They are not what they seem. The message said, "They adapt too fast. Do not wake the humans." The room fell silent. Silak stared at the words, then at the blue planet below. "They survived the crash. They must have seen our people, even back then. That's why they've been preparing. They've known, for a long time." Rethan looked deeply troubled. "If they've had our tech for centuries, they may have learned things we don't even know they understand." One officer stepped forward. "We must inform the High Council. The humans have touched forbidden technology." But Rethan didn't move. "If the Council knows, they may try to stop the humans. Destroy them before they grow further. But that may trigger a war, and I'm no longer sure we can win." Later that night, Silak watched Earth alone. A human broadcast appeared on a civilian channel. A message from a space agency official. She looked directly at the camera, calm and confident. "To those watching from above," she said, "we know you're there. We don't want war, but we will protect our world. We're not afraid of the stars anymore." It was not a challenge. It was a warning, a promise. On the ship, every officer felt the same strange chill. The humans were not trying to be aggressive. They were simply ready. Ready for anything. Commander Rethan finally spoke. They were never the prey. They were always the storm. Quiet, building, waiting. The Yalari ship moved quietly across the dark side of Earth, unseen. The crew didn't speak. They just watched. The more they learned about humans, the more they realized. Humanity was not waiting to be discovered. They were preparing to meet whatever came, and they would not bow. And far below, in the snowy darkness of Antarctica, a human scientist looked at a glowing piece of alien metal and whispered, "We know you're still out there. We're almost ready. The alien ship Veltranek floated silently above Earth's night side, hidden in orbit. Inside, fear was growing among the Yalari crew. Not the fear of attack, but the fear of what humans were becoming. Each new scan showed the same thing. Evolution, movement, power. Humans were not just advancing in technology. They were changing in ways no species had before. Emotion and logic were mixing. Pain was turning into purpose, weakness into strength. Even in the darkest corners of their world, hope was rising. Silak watched a video from a war-torn city where buildings had fallen and fires still burned. In the middle of the ruins, a small group of people stood together, building a solar panel using broken glass and melted scrap. Children helped carry parts. Elders gave instructions. It wasn't a government project, just survivors, adapting. He turned to Commander Rethan. Every time they lose something, they build something better. Rethan didn't answer. He was watching something else. An image taken from deep inside Earth's underground base in Antarctica. A lab filled with machines, cables, and scientists. They had unlocked a part of the old Yalari ship's navigation system, and were trying to decode it. "They're close," Rethan said. "Too close." A new report came in. Humans had launched a small stealth satellite into space, one that didn't match their usual design. The Yalari scans couldn't read it clearly. It was covered in unknown materials. It moved slowly, as if it wasn't trying to gather information, but to hide. "We've underestimated them," Selek said. "They've known about us for longer than we thought, and they didn't panic. They planned." Inside Earth's military networks, quiet alerts were moving between nations. Unofficial ones. Secret teams from different countries had started sharing space data, warning of strange signals and shadows in the sky. Old enemies were now working together. Even rival governments were forming silent agreements. "They are uniting," Rethan said. "They don't trust each other, but they fear what's coming more than they fear each other." That night, the Veltranek's AI detected something impossible. A human listening station in a desert region had tracked a minor energy trail from the cloaked ship. It wasn't much, just a small reading. But the station didn't ignore it. Within minutes, 3 human satellites shifted, cameras focused on the area, drones launched. "They found our shadow," the AI said. The crew panicked. The cloaking system was still working, but just barely. Earth's tech was closing the gap. Each move the humans made brought them closer to the truth. Silak said what everyone was thinking. "If they find us, they might not run. They might come for us." Commander Rethan stood in silence, watching the planet below. He finally gave the order. "Power down all active scans. No light, no movement. They are hunting us now." But it was already too late. From the human base in Antarctica, a new broadcast was sent. It wasn't public. It was a pulse, a wide, deep signal sent into space on multiple frequencies. The message was short but powerful. "To those watching, we are aware. We are not your enemy, but we are not your experiment. Come forward in peace, or stay hidden forever." The crew of Veltranek looked at each other. The message was clear. It wasn't fear. It wasn't aggression. It was a line drawn in the sand. Silak whispered, "They're giving us a choice." But deep in the heart of the Yalari Empire, the High Council had made their own choice. They had detected the same energy signals from Earth. They now knew that humans had touched Yalari tech, and they were afraid. A reply was sent to Commander Rethan. One simple command: prepare Earth for containment. Destroy the tech. Remove the threat. Rethan stared at the order for a long time. Then he looked down at the blue planet spinning below. So full of life. So full of fire. "No," he said. "Not yet." But the decision was no longer his alone. From light years away, Yalari warships were already on the move, heading toward Earth. And down below, humans were watching the stars. And waiting. The stars above Earth were quiet, but not for long. From deep space, the Yalari warships moved faster than light, silent, powerful, and deadly. They were coming straight toward Earth. Their mission was clear: destroy the stolen alien technology, erase the evidence, and stop humanity's rise before it became a threat to the galaxy. On board the Veltranek, Commander Rethan stood in front of his crew. His eyes were tired, but his voice was steady. The Council has sent warships. They want Earth silenced. But I have seen enough to know this is not the way. His officers didn't speak. Some agreed. Some were afraid. Others just waited. Selak stepped forward. If we warn the humans, we risk being hunted by our own kind. But if we stay silent, they may be destroyed without knowing why. Rethan looked down at the planet. They are not the enemy. They are something new. And if we destroy them, we destroy the future. Meanwhile, on Earth, secret meetings were happening all over the world. Military leaders, scientists, and politicians, once divided, were now united. They had detected strange gravitational ripples in space. Something big was coming. Something fast. "We don't have long," said one human scientist. "Whatever is out there, it's not just watching anymore. It's coming." In the Antarctic base, the team working on the alien tech had made a breakthrough. They had unlocked a partial message from the ancient Yalari crash. If they evolve, if they adapt, nothing will stop them. The meaning was unclear, but the fear in the message was obvious. Then came the signal. Earth's defense systems picked it up. Multiple large ships entering the solar system. Not human, not friendly. Earth's response was fast. Satellites shifted. Missiles armed. The United Space Command activated Protocol Dawn, the first true defense network for the planet. Every radar, telescope, and sensor turned toward the stars. And for the first time, humanity sent their own warning signal into deep space. It wasn't angry. It wasn't afraid. It simply said, "We see you. We will not run. We will not fall." Back on the Veltranek, the crew was tense. The Yalari warships would arrive in 2 days. Rethan knew what they would do. No warning, no contact, just destruction from orbit. He made his decision. "We will warn them." Selak's eyes widened. "That is treason." "No," Rethan said. "That is truth." They prepared a small probe with a single message, written in simple human language. It explained who the Yalari were, what was coming, and why. The probe was launched quietly toward Earth, cloaked and silent. But something unexpected happened. Before the probe could reach the surface, a human ship launched from Earth. Small, fast, and clearly armed. It flew straight toward the probe, as if it knew. The human ship captured it gently, brought it inside, and began decoding the message. They were waiting for something. Selak said in shock. They knew we'd send a signal. In the secret base below Earth's surface, the message played. Leaders listened in silence. When it ended, no one spoke for a full minute. Then one general said, "So it's true. We're not alone. And the galaxy is afraid of us." A scientist stood up. "Good. Let them be afraid. But let them also know, we don't want war, but we won't be wiped out." Earth sent a reply, not just to the Veltranek, but to any alien ship that could hear. "We are human. We fight. We learn. We survive. If you come in peace, we welcome you. If you come to destroy us, be ready." Commander Rethan listened to the message with a heavy heart. The humans were ready. But now war was coming, and it might be too late to stop it. The final scan showed the Yalari warships only 1 day away. Selak looked at his commander. "What do we do now?" Rethan whispered, "We buy them time." The Veltranek turned slowly in space. It faced the direction of the incoming fleet, alone, outnumbered, but no longer afraid. And below, Earth lit up with silent fire. Factories working, weapons preparing, minds focused, not with hate, but with unity. Humanity would not wait in fear. They were ready to face the stars. The Yalari warships entered the solar system like shadows stretched across the stars. Massive, silent, and unstoppable, they carried weapons that had ended civilizations before. Earth, to them, was just another target, a growing fire that had to be put out before it burned too bright. But this time, the fire fought back. On board the Veltranek, Commander Rethan stood firm, facing the incoming fleet. He had already sent a warning to Earth, and now stood between his people and a war he no longer believed in. His ship, once a silent observer, had become a line in the sand. Silek reported quietly, "Fleet Commander has ordered us to move aside or be destroyed." Rethan looked at Earth one last time. "They gave us a chance to choose, so we choose them." The Veltranek sent one final signal to the fleet. "Stand down. Humanity is not your enemy." "They are not ready to be judged, and neither are we." There was no reply. The lead warship fired a warning shot, a blast of energy across space that missed by only a few kilometers. But Earth saw it. The flash lit up the sky like a false sunrise. Across Earth, alarms rang. Missile silos opened. Defense satellites locked onto targets. Human fleets launched from hidden bases, not to attack, but to protect. Every screen on Earth showed the same message. We will not fire first, but we will not die silent. In the Antarctic base, scientists watched in fear and awe. One whispered, "We're not ready for this." But another replied, "We never were. We just became ready by surviving." Then something no one expected happened. As the warships prepared to fire on Earth, hundreds of human signals flooded space. Not weapons, but messages, video clips, music, voices, images of peace and war, love and loss, laughter and death. The full story of what it meant to be human. The Yalari fleet slowed. Commander Rethan watched from his ship. They're not fighting with weapons. They're fighting with truth. One of the warships paused transmission. Then another. Then another. Something was changing. Even the Yalari, cold, logical, powerful, couldn't ignore what they were seeing. Inside the warship command channel, one voice finally broke the silence. "These are not primitives. They are not beasts. They are something else, something becoming." But not all agreed. One Yalari ship broke formation and charge, ready to fire on Earth. The Veltranek moved instantly, placing itself in the path. There was no time for weapons, just one decision. Rethan whispered to his crew, "This is our choice." The collision shook the sky. The Veltranek was gone, destroyed to protect the very species it once watched in silence. On Earth, systems showed the explosion. One of the alien ships had just saved them from another. The message was clear. Not all Yalari wanted war. And it changed everything. The Yalari fleet stopped. One by one, they turned away from Earth, not defeated by guns or force, but by something greater, by the truth of humanity's struggle, pain, and unstoppable will to rise. Back on Earth, people watched the stars in silence. The war never began, but something greater had. Weeks later, a message arrived. A new one, not from Rethan, but from the Yalari Council. It said, "We will no longer interfere. You are not what we expected. You are something new. We will watch, and we will wait." Humanity had survived its first contact with power, not by being stronger, but by being more human. From that day forward, Earth was no longer alone. The galaxy knew their name, and many would fear it, not because humans were monsters, but because they had something no other species had ever shown before: the power to become more.